$707,000. That is the median home price in Inman Park, Atlanta, right now, May 2026, up 7.6% year over year. It is almost the most valuable square mile on the entire Atlanta Beltline, and in the next 11 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that money buys you, the 3 streets I'd put my money on tomorrow, and the question every Beltline buyer is asking: Inman Park or Old Fourth Ward? I'm Brian Olivard, team lead of Realtall Real Estate right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Quick context, because Inman Park's story matters for the math. Inman Park was Atlanta's first planned suburb, one of the first true garden suburbs in the entire country. Built in the late 1800s for Atlanta's wealthy who wanted to escape downtown, 130 years later, they are still doing so, and they are still moving here. Inman Park sits on the most used segment of the Eastside Beltline, steps from Krog Market, which by the way is a former truck storage building, steps from Freedom Park Trails, walking distance to Little Five in Cabbagetown, walkable, historic, expensive. Let's get into the numbers. The median home price at Inman Park in January 2026 was $675,000. 60 days later, March 2026, that median jumped to $707,000. Up 7.6% year over year. Let me put that into context. The Metro Atlanta median is sitting around $438,000. Inman Park is 60% above the Metro median. Always has been, probably always will be. And here's the kicker. Inman Park is one of the only Intown Atlanta neighborhoods that is appreciating in 2026, while the broader Metro is flat to slightly cooling. Why? 3 reasons. The Beltline, the historic housing stock, you literally cannot build more Victorians, and the cap on new construction. Inman Park's historic preservation rules mean inventory grows slowly. Slow inventory plus rising demand equals one direction for price. Let's start at $700,000. That is the entry door to Inman Park single family. At $700K in Inman Park, you are buying one of 2 things. Option 1, an unrenovated Craftsman bungalow, original pine floors, plaster walls, single pane windows, a 60-year-old kitchen, smaller than you would expect, 1,200, maybe 1,400 square feet, 2 bed, 1 bath, possibly 1.5 bath. This is the buyer who's going to be putting $30,000 to $70,000 into the home over the next 2 years. And in Inman Park, that work compounds hard. Option 2 at $700K, a townhome, new build or near new, 2 bed, 2 bath, garage, walk to Beltline, smaller than you would want forever, but easy to sell when you outgrow it. Real talk, if I'm looking for lifestyle and I want to be in Inman Park, I'm picking the unrenovated bungalow every time. The land alone is appreciating 6% a year. The townhome depreciates from day one. $900,000, the Inman Park sweet spot. At $900K in Inman Park, you are buying a fully restored 3-bed, 2-bath Craftsman bungalow. Original molding kept, kitchen ripped open and modernized. Primary suite added in the back, off-street parking pad. Or you're buying a slightly larger Victorian that needs some cosmetic love. Wallpaper from 1987, brass fixtures, but the bones are immaculate. But both options give you somewhere between 1,800 and 2,200 square feet. Both let you walk to the Beltline in under 5 minutes. Both have appreciated 5 to 7% every year for 10 years straight. Here's the part that's going to make every Atlanta agent mad at me, and I said the same thing last week about Old Fourth Ward. At $900K in Inman Park, the smartest play is the renovated bungalow on the corner, not the brand new infill. Why? Because the bungalow's land value compounds. The new build's land value is already maxed, and the kitchen you're admiring will look dated in 10 years. The bungalow is timeless. Choose that. Now, crank it to 1.3, 1.5, or even 1.8. At this price point, Inman Park becomes a different planet. We're talking fully restored Victorians on Edgewood, on Elizabeth Street, or Waddell. 4 bedrooms, 3+ baths, wraparound porches, original stained glass, carriage houses that work as in-laws or rentals, or modern infill houses, 4,000 square foot architect builds with smart home everything, walk-in closets, finished basements. Honest take, at 1.3, you're buying status as much as you're buying square footage. There is a finite number of historic Inman Park trophy homes. Once you're in, you are set. But getting in requires moving fast. These go in 7 days or less, often off market. The 3 streets in Inman Park I would buy on tomorrow with my own money. Street number 1, Elizabeth Street, the most photographed street in Inman Park. Tree canopy, Victorian after Victorian, walkable to Krog Street in 4 minutes. When a listing pops up on Elizabeth, my phone blows up. Street number 2, Druid Circle, quieter pocket, mix of restored bungalows and small Victorians. Lot sizes are bigger than average for Inman Park. If you want a tiny yard for a dog, Druid Circle. Street 3, Waverly Way. Underrated, just enough off Beltline to be quiet, but close enough to walk to everything in 5 minutes. Some of the best schools, eligible homes at Inman Park sit on Waverly. Now, one street I tell every buyer to think twice about. I'm not going to name it on camera, but it is the stretch closest to North Highland with the heaviest pass-through traffic. Beautiful homes, outrageous noise. People buy them, live there for 2 years, and resell because they cannot sleep on a Friday night. If you're shopping in Inman Park, drive every street you are considering on a Friday night at 10 p.m. Always. Now the question I get 100 times a month, Inman Park or Old Fourth Ward? If you want walkability, restaurants, nightlife, and density, and you have a budget under $800K, Old Fourth Ward. The condos and townhomes get you in the door faster. If you want historic single-family homes, tree-lined streets, a sense of permanence, and you have $800K and up, Inman Park, hands down. Equity story over a 5-year hold. Both win, but Inman Park's historic preservation makes it the slightly safer long-term bet because you literally cannot oversupply it. Vibe? Inman Park feels like a real neighborhood. Old Fourth Ward feels like an urban district. Both are great. They are not the same thing though. Final verdict on Inman Park in 2026? Buy, specifically the unrenovated Craftsman bungalow at $700K or the fully restored bungalow at $900K. Skip the new construction, skip the townhome. Land plus history is the play. Next week, I am answering the question every Atlanta buyer is afraid to ask. How much cash do you actually need to buy a $600,000 house in this city? Spoiler, it's a lot less than you think. Subscribe, drop your dream Intown neighborhood in the comments. I read them all, and I am Brian Olivard, Real Tall, out.